My voice is trash right now, but I'm just gonna chat with you today why I'm here. I've been putting off filming YouTube videos lately. It's been kind of not good. And it's sad because this has been a dream of mine since I was like 12 years old. I remember asking my parents for permission to film YouTube videos. I didn't even know what I wanted to film videos on, but I just knew that I wanted to put myself out there on the internet. And they said no, and so I didn't get to do it. Now I'm a grown-up and I don't have to ask people for permission. For me, making a YouTube channel, it meant I have to make sacrifices in my life, and it's hard to continue making that sacrifice, many sacrifices, when I'm not that successful yet. I know that success doesn't come overnight. I don't expect it to. I never expected it to. But it's also hard to keep plugging away at something that's giving you very little results. The God honest truth of why I started a YouTube channel was not simply just to teach people how to be better versions of themselves. Like my goal was never to just be a YouTube channel that teaches the viewer how to be more productive for the sake of being productive. Like I don't seek to just make people more appealing for the sake of being more appealing and being at the top of the food chain. I am someone who has spent a very large portion of my life at the bottom of the food chain, and through psychology, through knowledge, through mental health, through physical fitness, through surrounding myself with the right people, reading copious amounts of books, through research, through exercising empathy, through dropping my ego, I have become a much more enlightened, productive, understanding, and compassionate individual. I want to make videos because I want to train a school, a family, a community of people on how to be strong enough to give back to the world. In the very beginning, I really made a point of talking about that a lot, about how important it is to focus on your self-growth because you want to be someone who has enough control over your own consciousness such that you can give back to the rest of humanity. But I haven't really been speaking about it as much. So I think really I've just kind of been like, I need to keep plugging away at this goal of mine, this YouTube thing, and then once I'm successful, I'll actually be able to do something. And it's weird because now I'm at the point where I'm actually getting like a couple comments on each video. A lot of these self-improvement YouTubers that I watch, so there's been a couple channels that I've been following for a while. I'm gonna bring up 3 names right now. Andrew W., Felix Skura, and there's this other one that I forgot about. Let's just call him Joseph. All 3 of them are very interesting because they are very much in the self-improvement adjacent space. I feel like maybe that's kind of where I am too, maybe a little bit more like leaning towards self-improvement, but like these 3 guys, they talk about bettering yourself, but also mostly like the world and the state of the universe and the state of your own mind. They've all kind of experienced weird renaissances of some sort in their content. And I wonder if that's what I'm experiencing. All 3 of them have really had their own specific periods of pulling back from YouTube. That Joseph guy that I was talking about, I'm pretty certain, I haven't checked his channel recently, but he has not uploaded in a while, and he made a post on his community tab recently talking about how he lost sight of himself and was just making content to bother people and make people angry. And he hasn't uploaded since. But I can tell you that all 3 of these guys at different points have taken breaks from creating content. They've kind of run away from their channels for a little bit. There's been lulls in what they've produced and put out, and I'm wondering if maybe that's what I'm experiencing right now. A bit of a lull in what I'm putting out. And it's kind of annoying because one of my resolutions for this year was to put out a certain amount of YouTube videos, and I have been creating little to no shorts, which is also unfortunate because that has been a wonderful way for me to garner views and attention and find new people to support my videos. It brings a lot of new traction to my channel. How do I appeal to an audience but also stay authentic to myself? I mean, I haven't always been like a bubbly person. I used to be really shy when I was a little girl, but something changed in like 2nd grade and I just erupted as an individual. I just became so strange and I started to reclaim the idea of weirdness. And I grew up and, you know, as you do, you change and you morph over time. But that real true backbone, that spine, that don't mess with me attitude, I've only started to really hone in on since the age of 18 and 19. As a woman who felt very small when I was younger, I studied these like bombastic, really like masculine, big burly college guys, almost like like the loudest, the biggest in the room. Women can be just as driven and leadership focused as men. I value both the masculine and feminine perspective. I hope one day I could have women in my audience that are learning that skill just as much as I am, and I could be kind of like a big sister to you. And that also goes for like feminine men and masculine women. I would love all sorts of people in my audience, and like anybody in between, you know, like you're all welcome here. There's a lot more empathy amongst my generation, Gen Z. But I think also we are so quick to lash out at other people when they disagree with us. I don't ever want to curate an audience of people who are going to lash out at a commenter who says something a little bit closed-minded or a little bit different than what the average member of my audience believes in. I really want to fight climate change, and I want to rally against it, and I can create a giant audience of people so that I can have enough money and power to open up a nonprofit and also just inspire people and educate people on this terrifying issue that is ravaging our entire universe. But if you don't believe that climate change exists, you are still welcome here. I just want an audience of people of all states of mind, of all perspectives, so that we can just learn from each other. The only thing that I know for certain is that in my mind and in my heart, I mean what I say. And the people who trust in me are in good hands. But therein lies the problem. You don't even know for sure that in my mind and my heart, I believe what I'm saying. You could exercise your judgment. You could say, you could see the authenticity and the truth in my eyes, but you can never fully know for sure. There's this sense of skepticism that I've developed in watching creators. You know, there was this YouTuber, this male self-improvement YouTuber that I followed for a very long time. I really believed in him and resonated with his life story. And then he made a video openly admitting to exploiting one of his female followers. It made me rethink the way that I saw him as a whole. I realized that I could just as much have been one of those women. Can someone else relate to this? Like, do you also worry about these things? I never want to be looked at as a deity, but I also want to have a great deal of power so that I could do something good with it. And part of me wonders if the only way for me to be someone with a lot of power so I can do something good with it is for at least some of my audience to look at me like a deity. Is it possible for me to train you as the viewer to look at me with a healthy sense of skepticism alongside a great deal of compassion when I don't even fully know how to do that myself? I don't know, man. I spend a lot of time reading books so that I can be a better person. Right now, I'm reading a book about persuasion. This is Rhetoric, The Art of Persuasion by Aravatu and Aberdeen. It's pretty decent. And then there's another book that actually the owner of my jiu-jitsu academy let me borrow. It's called Way of the Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman. This is phenomenal. This book is just kind of teaching me how to live a more intentional life. So these are two books that I'm reading, and a big reason why I read so many books on bettering myself is because I want to be a phenomenal role model. I want you, the person watching this video, to be able to look at me and say, hey, she really knows what she's talking about. I can't promise you that I'm going to do and say everything right, but I can promise you that I'm going to give my whole soul trying to do that. So it's hard because I want to make videos that train the viewer how to grow as a person, and part of that involves kind of hacking the system to gain views and subscribers and attention and leveraging the algorithm so that I can have power. But sometimes when you're trying to leverage that system, you forget your intention behind that process as a whole. Maybe you watching climate change is not your main main cause. I want to learn how to persuade you to really care about climate change, but I know that for a lot of people, climate change is not their thing. Maybe you're a staunch libertarian or a socialist or a communist, Republican, Democrat. I really don't care. I also want to empower you no matter what cause that you are fighting for, even if it is in disagreement or direct opposition to what matters most to me. I want to empower you to fight for it with grace, beauty, patience, and kindness. But climate change though, you know, like I believe in empowering people to fight against climate change, but I also believe that like freedom of opinion, diversity of opinion is really important. And maybe that's a little bit of a contradiction, but I'm an artist. And us artists love contradictions, so I want to invite you to exist in this space with me, this weird, contradictory, exploratory space of just learning ourselves, learning our minds, and learning our hearts. So what does this mean for my content going forward? Dude, I straight up don't know. But also I spend every waking moment of my life on self-improvement so that I could be someone who is going to be strong enough to give back. So maybe that should be what I'm focusing on. Maybe I should find a way to implement that into my message before I focus on fighting against specific issues. You know, you got to educate yourself. You got to educate yourself on certain things before you actually take action. And I'm in the process of educating myself. Maybe I'll just focus on teaching you self-growth and reminding you why you need to pursue self-growth. I'm not fearless yet, but I'm training to be. You could watch my other videos if you want to see me talk about training to be fearless. But today, I just wanted to talk about where I am now mentally when it comes to this content and what I want to do and what my intentions are for this channel. And I also wanted to talk about how there's been a little bit of a lull in my content and why that might be, and how the other creators that I've watched and admired over time that I've had this channel have also had this sort of lull, and how they are either still in it or maybe coming out of it and evolving, because sometimes in moments of quietude and moments of rest or avoidance, to be honest, because that's what it's been for me, moments of avoidance. I'm gonna stop sugarcoating it with like nice vocabulary words. Sometimes as a writer I have the habit to do that. In moments of avoidance, I need to learn how to turn towards what scares me and face it so that I can be a hero. I hope I can be a hero. And not because I want the label, but because I want to do good.